I've been wanting to make a video about the situation for a while because I felt like I was the only one who found her behavior entirely predictable. Though, to be fair, anyone with red pill knowledge could have predicted how she behaved, since she utilizes the typical strategies women use when arguing. For those that don't know, Katerino is a streamer and a YouTuber who supposedly had some sort of relationship with another YouTuber named Carson while dating another guy and cheating on them both with, I think, five other guys at this point. I'm not sure how many names were thrown in, but honestly, it's hard to keep track because there's just so many bodies, which kind of shows you why this thing blew up the way it did. Today, I thought it'd be fun to go through her apology and point out where she uses these strategies so that you guys could notice the behavior in your personal life as you interact with not just women, but people in general. Because you'll find many disingenuous men using these tricks as well. Now, without further ado, let's begin.
Hey guys, I'm sorry this took so long to come out. I was processing things and thinking things through, and this is my first time going through something like this, and I wanted to go about it as best as I possibly could.
Right off the bat, she tries to claim the moral high ground by saying she wanted to process and deal with the situation in the best way possible. Keep this in mind because as we go through, there will be points where she could have done better to apologize, instead of trying to paint herself as a victim in this narrative. You can tell she's trying to play the victim card immediately if you look at her body language and the way she enunciates her words. But if you need further proof, it will become clear shortly.
While I was clear with Carson that Carson and I were not in a relationship, I still led him on and ended up hurting Carson and my boyfriend at the time very badly in the process.
Here's the first example of her playing the victim. She immediately shifts the blame from herself and tries to use euphemisms to cover up what she actually did. Instead of saying, "I cheated on my boyfriend and Carson," she instead chooses to say Carson got the wrong message from her because she was only leading him on. It wasn't her fault that he misinterpreted her signals. Fellas, listen up, because this is what all women do when they are in an argument or shown to be doing something wrong. They will avoid blame by asserting that what they did was not wrong, but rather how everyone else around them responded was what went wrong. Most women hate accountability, and this is generally a good tactic if the other party is unaware of what you're doing.
I am now seeing a therapist, and although I didn't realize it at the time, I was dealing a lot with depersonalization, and I felt like I was two different people living two different lives. I felt like a passenger in my own body. I ignored very conflicting feelings and thoughts, and I was very lost and confused.
The mental gymnastics played here are phenomenal. When I first heard this, I couldn't hold back my laughter. I mean, seriously? Depersonalization? That's the excuse you go with? Depersonalization is a condition in which a person feels like they are not the one doing these actions, but that they are observing themselves as if they were playing a third-person shooter or something. That's not exactly accurate, but it's close enough. The reason she chose this, and just to be sure, this was completely intentional, but the reason she decided on this disorder was because if she was a passenger in her own body, she couldn't possibly be blamed for what she did. Clearly, some outside force had control over her actions. It couldn't possibly be her own fault. Women will jump through all kinds of hoops to avoid accountability. It's actually a bit absurd.
And Carson and I streamed together, and his community very much saw us as a couple, which we encouraged.
Again, now she shifts the blame to Carson and his community for viewing them as a couple. This whole video is littered with her refusing to acknowledge directly what she did wrong and how she's going to fix it to make up for it in the future. This is one of the major reasons why this apology feels fake and forced.
And I'm sorry to all those people that I let down and disappointed.
An indirect apology will get you nowhere. This applies to everyone. If you're making an apology, you need to directly address a person whom you've committed the reprehensible act towards. If you don't and continue to keep it general, they will never be willing to accept it because it shows that you don't care enough about them to bother trying to amend things between you and them specifically.
There are so many things I could have done better. And I was lost and confused, and I ended up hurting people that I cared about. And in the future, I want to be better, and I want to focus on myself, which is why I'm taking further time off streaming. And I'm working through my depersonalization. I'm still seeing my therapist, and I want to live my life more openly and honestly. And more than anything, I want to be honest with myself, which is something that I've struggled with a lot.
This sounds great, but she's completely making it about herself. She does absolutely nothing to address how she will make it up to the people she hurt in the process. Again, she is also scapegoating her, quote, depersonalization for her actions. Accountability is thrown right out the window.
And I'm sorry to everyone. I'm sorry to my community and anyone that I've disappointed or let down. I'm sorry to Carson's community. I'm sorry to Fitz's community and anyone else's community who was affected by this. Anyone who had to deal with this drama in their chat. I'm sorry to Tempo. I'm sorry to Fitz for hurting his image and his friendship with Carson. I'm sorry to my ex-boyfriend for handling our relationship so poorly. He's very much a victim in this, and Carson, who was also a victim in this and deserved a lot better.
This is straight mercenary. Fellas, take note. She apologizes to everyone, but saves the man who basically built her entire career, which is Carson, for last. He should have been the first person you apologized to, not some afterthought. Imagine if your wife cheated on you, then apologized to the Chad she was getting her back blown out with before she apologized to you. It still boggles my mind that women can have literally zero empathy for the men who help them in their lives. They just expect it, like it's just given, not something they should work for or appreciate in any way. As a side note, your community does not exist. It's Carson's community. Let's get that straight. For those of you that actually care about the people in your life, let me tell you how to apologize properly. First, you have to confront the person and see what you both did, to try to come to a common understanding of who is at fault. Most times, you'll find that both people could have done something better. If that is the case, then you both apologize and you both try to do something together to smooth things over so that you guys can overcome the disagreement. Maybe go grab lunch together or just hang out or something. If you are found to be the one who messed up, then you should do everything in your power to make sure the person knows that you are sorry. The most important part is you must try to give some sort of repayment for your actions. Try to make it something that the other person values and is tied to their personality. That way, they will feel like you genuinely care about them because you are willing to go to great lengths to make it up to them. If you are on the receiving end of this because they did something bad to you, then just invert the roles. Look for signs that they're trying to make it up to you by doing something for you that you find meaningful. If they're willing to do that, chances are they really mean it when they are saying sorry. That's about it. I liked watching this unfold because it probably served as a massive red pill to a large group of people. Remember, modern society only unchained women's hypergamy, so as it runs rampant, more men will be forced to witness. Maybe then we could have some more enlightened men walking around, making the world a better place. Also, I'm using my new mic, so let me know how my voice sounds. I feel like it's a lot more clear, but feel free to let me know if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, like and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and as always, stay prosperous.